The conflict in Gaza is still not over, with recent Israeli airstrikes killing at least 100 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip overnight. This was confirmed by local health authorities on Sunday, the 18th of May 2025, today local time, as mediators held a new round of ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. At least 100 martyrs have been killed since last night. Entire families have been erased from civil registration records as a result of Israeli bombardment. Khalil al-Degran, a spokesman for the Gaza Health Ministry, was quoted as saying by Reuters, "Israel has blocked the entry of medical supplies, food and fuel into Gaza since early March to try to pressure Hamas into releasing Israeli hostages and has agreed to a plan that could involve seizing the entire Gaza Strip and controlling aid. Hamas has said it will only release the hostages if Israel adheres to a ceasefire." Media brokers Egypt and Qatar, backed by the United States, began a new round of indirect ceasefire talks between the two sides on Saturday. But sources close to the negotiations said no meaningful agreement had been reached. A Palestinian official familiar with the talks said Hamas was flexible about the number of hostages it could free, but that the issue was Israel's commitment to ending the war. Meanwhile, the Palestinian militant group has proposed freeing about half of the Israeli hostages in exchange for a 2-month ceasefire and the release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, Sky News Arabica and the BBC reported. However, according to reports from Britain's Sky News Arabica and the BBC, the Palestinian militant group has proposed freeing about half of the Israeli hostages in return for a 2-month truce and the release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. In fact, Israel remains adamant and unchanged. Israel's position has not changed. They want their prisoners released, without any commitment to ending the war, a Hamas official said, as reported by Reuters. One of the overnight Israeli strikes hit a tent camp housing displaced families in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip, killing women and children, wounding dozens and setting several tents on fire. Hamas described the attack as a new brutal crime and blamed the U.S. government for the escalation. Among the dozens killed were 3 journalists and their families. Medical officials said another family in northern Gaza lost at least 20 family members. Gaza's health care system is barely functioning due to repeated Israeli bombardments and raids on hospitals. The blockade of aid supplies has exacerbated their hardships and contributed to the spread of famine, which Israel continues to blame Hamas for. Hospitals are overwhelmed with the increasing number of victims, many of whom are children, many cases of amputations, and hospitals that are repeatedly targeted by the occupation are struggling to cope with a shortage of medical supplies, Degran said. The Israeli military said in a statement that it was carrying out a massive offensive in the Gaza Strip as part of its plan to achieve its war aims. Israel's stated goal in Gaza is the elimination of the military and administrative capabilities of Hamas, which attacked Israeli communities on October 7, 2023, killing some 1,200 people and taking about 250 Israeli hostages. Israel's military campaign has devastated the enclave, driving nearly all of its residents from their homes and killing more than 53,000 people, according to Gaza health authorities.